Moving on to the factors affecting supply. A supply curve shows how quantity supplied will change as the price rises and falls, assuming ceteris paribus that is no other economically relevant factors are changing. If other factors relevant to supply do change, then the entire supply curve will shift, just as a shift in demand is represented by the changes in the quantity demanded at every price. A shift in supply means a change in the quantity supplied at every price. In thinking about the factors that affect supply, remember what motivates firms or enterprises: profits, which are the difference between revenues and costs. Goods and services are produced using combinations of labor, materials, and machinery, or what we call inputs, also called factors of production. If a firm faces lower costs of production while the prices for the good and service the firm produces remain unchanged, a firm's profits goes up. When a firm's profits increases, it's more motivated to produce output, good or services, since the more it produces sorry, since the more it produces, the more profit it will earn. So when costs of production fall, a firm will tend to supply a larger quantity at any given price for its output. This can be shown by the supply curve shifting to the right. Now, after we saw demand and what it means, and supply and what it means, and their main factors that shift the supply or demand of some products or services, there is an important term which is equilibrium. The equilibrium, surplus, and shortage. Demand and supply, in order to understand market equilibrium, we need to start with the laws of demand and supply. Recall that the law of demand says that at as price decreases, consumers demand a higher quantity. Similarly, the law of supply says that when price decreases, producers supply a lower quantity. Equilibrium, where supply and demand intersect or meet, when two lines on a diagram cross. This intersection usually means something. On a graph, the points where the supply curve S and the demand curve D intersect is the equilibrium point. The equilibrium price is the only price where the desires of consumers and desires of producers agree. That is, where the amount of product and consumers want to buy, quantity demanded, is equal to the amount producers want to sell, quantity supplied. This mutually desired amount is called the equilibrium quantity. At any other price, the quantity demanded does not equal the quantity supplied, so the market is not in an equilibrium at this price. It should be clear from the previous discussions of surpluses and shortages that if a market is not in an equilibrium, market forces will push the market to equilibrium. Now, to the last term in our course is utility. Utility is the term economists use to describe the satisfaction or happiness a person gets from consuming a good or service. For example, Jose obtains utility from consuming t-shirts and consuming movies. Like all consumers, we assume Jose wishes to choose the combination of t-shirts and movies that will provide him with the greatest total utility. What we mean by total utility? It is the satisfaction a consumer gets from consuming some quantity of a good or service. Also, it is the total satisfaction from consuming all the goods and services in individual purchases. Now, budget constraint. Budget constraint is a very important related term to utility we will see and face a lot in our modeling, in microeconomic modeling for in consumer behavior. Now, what we mean by budget constraint? Budget constraint shows the possible combinations of two goods that are affordable giving consumers limited income. At this point, we conclude our second course, which was entitled Microeconomics. We defined microeconomics and macroeconomics. We saw the difference between the two levels of analysis, the microeconomic analysis and the macroeconomic analysis. We also introduced some important, but they are not all the related terms used by economists in microeconomic studies. At this point, I think we have concluded our course for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you will understand what we were talking about. For any, as always, for any question, you can find me on Facebook or on email. Thank you very much. Don't miss the, the quiz that we have made for this course. It is an online quiz compound of 6 questions. They are in the model. I hope you understand them and I hope you that you correctly answer them all. And by this, I conclude for today and for second time. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.